god, hi. Hi. Oh my god. Hello, it's me. It's Wands, and it's Wildlife Wednesday. And I haven't been this like anxious before stream in like a while. But here I am. My whole day has just been absolute chaos. I don't even remember if I remembered to do everything. That's the kind of day it's been. I've just been like running, like I drove 2 hours from my home to my school home, and I got back at 5:15 and I hadn't eaten and I hadn't prepped anything for this stream, and it was a nightmare. A bit of a nightmare. But I did it and I'm here cuz I was like what happened was I just had this one class that's today, and it was really stressing me out, and it made me end up leaving way later than I wanted to, and then I was like, well, I could just not stream, but I was like, or I could stream and I could just pull myself together and so on and so forth, and that's what I did. I'm gonna make sure my there we go. I'll make sure I actually sound okay and whatnot, and I'm not blowing everybody's eardrums out. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm also very warm. I'm just like 5 degrees too hot, and the fan in my room is not plugged in, and I didn't get time to plug it in because I don't know where I'm going to plug it in, and I had the window open. Is the camera flipped? It is flipped this way, and it was only because I wanted you to be able to see the reptile tanks more clearly than like what's over there. Cause yeah, my other if I switch it to my other just chatting, it looks like this. It's flipped. But I made it bigger because I liked the way I set up my room, and I wanted people to be able to see the reptile tanks and like whatever that is, but that's not as important. Anyways, so I on the way home, I was like, I gotta think of something here. I gotta think of a topic, and then when I get home, I'll like write out all the points for it. Also, hold on 1 second. Actually, I'm just gonna fix something with my mic. There, just so it's a slightly the cord's out of the way and I don't make a lot of noise hitting it, hopefully. So I was driving home and I was like, I gotta do something. And I was coming up with ideas, and I didn't like any of my ideas until I started thinking about. So a while ago, like quite a while ago, I took a trip out to this zoo, and I watched one of their animal shows because they had like the live animal shows where they bring out the animals, and they talk about them the way I used to do, and I've occasionally watched those shows, and honestly every time I watch them I'm just like, I'd rather be the one presenting than in the audience. Anyways, I was at a zoo. I was at the zoo, and they were doing a show. It was a very short show. It was like 3 animals. It was ridiculous. Anyway, but they had this little short show that the theme of it was parenthood, I think. It was a reptile zoo also, specifically. So they were talking about, animals and specifically reptiles that actually do take care of their babies, contrary to what we think about reptiles, because a lot of them are just like, you're on your own, just from. So I was like, that's kind of a fun concept because you can talk about. And sometime during my degree, I learned about all of the different ways that fish, like I think it's called reproductive modes, like the different ways they either do or don't care for their babies. Reptile monkeys, we're going to talk about this later, but there is a reptile called a monkey-tailed skink that I wanted to talk about later. So that's probably as close to a reptile monkey as you're going to get, or a monkey reptile. Monkey lizard. Yeah, I don't know how long the stream is going to be because I only produced notes in the last like 20 or 30 minutes, so they're not very extensive. So we're just gonna see. Reptile monkey. It's very important. Yes, I agree. Okay. So I kind of figured what we do, sort of because I figure it makes the most sense, is like kind of go up the like evolutionary chain from like the quote unquote like simpler animals to the more complex ones, even though that's not a good way to distinguish them because I don't want to get too much into that, but like, calling animals that are don't have the brain complexity that we do. Simple as kind of, because they have survived just as well everything else on this planet except for humans, because humans have overrun everything. Anyways, so yeah, I thought we'd start with like bugs, little dudes. And to kick us off with the bugs, I thought I'd look really quick at some bees and hats. Everybody likes a bee in a hat. But I want to talk about, like, again, a lot of like invertebrates and like reptiles and amphibians and fish. Their whole thing for like babies is you just make a shit ton of eggs and stuff, and like those babies are on their own. And if one out of the, like, 100 or 1,000 or whatever survive, then great. And that's one strategy. And then when we get to the like other groups of animals, you'll see that the other, like, this is kind of, if you remember, if you were there for me talking about with the plants, how there was like, I think it's K strategist and R strategist, and it's like one of them is like, oh, really, really fast and it dies out quickly, and then the other way is to be really slow but to outcompete everything. It's kind of the same with like babies, because generally the strategies animals use are either make so many babies that like a couple are gonna survive, and then that's pretty like hands off or fins off or whatever, because you just make babies, you let them go, and like 1% of them, or like 0.1%, will survive, and that's enough to like carry on over. And then the other way is to have like one or like a few babies that you put, well, the animal rather puts more energy into. So like, as an example, I think we've obviously, before, we talked about the sunfish, the ocean sunfish, right? And ocean sunfish, I believe they make like, yeah, 300 million eggs at a time. They produce more eggs than any other known vertebrate. So I definitely don't do any sort of egg care. They probably just like let them all go. And obviously, like, the females let a bunch of eggs go, the males let a bunch of sperm go, and a lot of fish, and then they just kind of mix, as opposed to like actual sexual reproduction where there's, animals bumping it. I don't want to get into that. So that's like on the extreme, like, just make a crazy amount of babies and some of them will survive. On the other side of that is something like an elephant baby, or something like a whale even, and those are like animals that they have one baby. It takes a very long time for it to develop. That's the rock biters. It takes a very long time for the baby to develop, and it usually will stay with its mom for years, with its mom helping to take care of it. So that's like the other side, which is you can either invest a teeny bit of energy into lots and lots and lots of babies and like you're on your own, or invest a lot of energy into one baby so that one baby survives. And obviously they both have their pros and cons. But you can see that like between, like, in the groups, like if you even look at something like elephants versus like mice reproduce pretty quickly. Let's look at actually like, oh sorry, mouse reproduction time. I set the mic a little low and I'm gonna hit it. So it takes them like a couple of weeks to like gestate one litter of babies, and they can have 5 to 10 litters per year. So they're obviously not anything like the ocean sunfish, but they, for mammals, which I think most if not all animals do care for their babies to some degree, that's pretty fast. And so obviously a single baby in one of those 5 to 10 litters is not gonna probably get more care than the other ones. They're all kind of gonna get equal amounts of the mom's energy, whether it's through like actual active care, like feeding or like whatever. Right. So on and so forth. So that's kind of the like everything we're gonna look at along this spectrum has like a different level of how many babies they make, how long it takes to make babies, how much care they give to their babies. Although interestingly, we'll kind of get into this, but there are some exceptions where it's like it's an animal that it takes them a long time to reach sexual maturity, but they still just like don't make that many babies. And it's why they're dying out, probably. I have chocolate beside me and I kind of want to eat some, but I'm gonna hold out. Because I don't necessarily want to make you guys watch me eat on stream. Okie doke. Hydrate, thanks. Need a chocolate, redeem. Like, you know how people have, like, you can redeem, like, oh, treat for dog? Treat for me. Just, like, give me a piece of chocolate. That's what I want. I want to add that. Okay, anyway. So we're gonna start. We'll close these. And I'm just gonna put in, like, because I was looking into this earlier, but, like, let me just go, bugs. Not even insects. Are bugs good parents? You might not think insects are good parents. And generally, you're right. Yeah, I think why not treat for chat are bugs? Are bugs? Are bugs? I don't even know. I mean, I feel like I don't know. If you redeemed something, I would just eat a piece of chocolate. But I don't want to eat all the chocolate. That's a lot of chocolate. I just need a little bit. But I think in general, before we really get into this, I think what it usually is like most bugs kind of like lay their eggs and like fuck off. But there are some bugs, like particularly I would say ants and bees, especially, you know, the ones that live in huge colonies, they actually care for their babies a lot more. Because, you know, success of the babies and big strong babies means stronger colonies, so that's worth it. Let's look at this. Most species just drop eggs and keep moving. There's a few species, particularly true bugs, that do not protect their young, or that do try to protect their young. They might hide their eggs, they might provide food, they might form lifelong bonds. Oh my god. Not surprisingly, females often provide the care. God, I'm boiling. Very similarly, females want to avoid desiccation and predation of their eggs. Yeah, so I mean, one thing that it's a little different in the ocean because it's easier for like to just like let a bunch of eggs go and they'll like get out somewhere, especially if you're a creature that's sessile, so you don't move around. But on like on the land, there's usually animals will at least go to the length of like trying to put their eggs in a place where they're not like in direct sunlight, so they're gonna dry out, or like to at least like bury them or something to give them a better chance of survival, so on and so forth. Sometimes they will excrete a protective coating on the eggs. You've probably noticed meadow spittlebug. Frothy foam. There's no picture. Oh, these are just... I buy like 50 eggs every time I get groceries because I do the same thing. You what? If you... Please tell me you don't secrete a protective coating on the eggs, because I will be very grossed out. So anymore, there's no... Rarely males and females take care of their young as a pair. Mostly this is found in species that feed on carrion, dung, or wood. Carrion and dung are unpredictable but valuable resources. What is a common resource, but it's difficult to digest? What a commitment. So on and so forth. So this is talking about, we're just gonna look like dung beetles care for young. Release them to the wild. They always break though, oh my god. 10 fascinating facts about dung beetles, oh my god. Look at him. There's a valiant and a gallant bug. They eat poop. Really? Oh god. They don't roll their poop. Nests filled with poop for offspring. You know who's a dung beetle? Yoku. That's the guy from the movie Shorts. Wait, who is? This guy? The bug? I've never seen Shorts. When dung beetles do carry roll the dung away, they're doing it to feed their young. Oh. I don't want to read the next sentence. Dung beetle nests are provisioned with poop, and the female usually deposits each egg in its own tiny dung sausage. Dung beetles are one of the few groups of insects that exhibit parental care for their young. In most cases, child rearing responsibilities fall on the mother. That's interesting. I'm good. I'm good. I've learned enough. Can we talk about beetles? Can we talk about other beetles? Top 10 beetles. Do beetles care for their young? Top 10 beetles, ladybug. That's not true. I don't like ladybugs. They're stinky and they're everywhere. Oh, hi, Small Cheddar. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. I hope you didn't come in right on the dung beetle bit, but if you did, that's how it goes sometimes. Parental care varies between species, ranging from simple laying of eggs under a leaf to certain scarab beetles which construct underground structures. Come play with us on Blind Dog. Okay. Want to get away from the dung beetles. Ideally. Save that for another time. I was thinking, sorry, this is unrelated, but I was thinking, since it's going to be October soon, and since I wanted to get back into, like, fully actually doing the Wildlife Wednesdays, I was thinking I might try to do some, like, spookier stuff for October, like parasites. Although I don't know if I can last through an entire stream about parasites. I might freak out. We'll see. But I thought that might be like a fun little, that's my Halloween thing. Could talk about that. I feel like at some point I did talk about parasites, but I don't think it was its own thing. And I can't remember what it was what it was in. So I'll have to figure that out because I'm trying to like not, cover topics I've already covered, at least for like a bit, but obviously there's some overlap because that's just how things are. Can we look at pictures of rhino beetles? I miss those dudes. You want to look at rhino beetles? I don't know which ones those are. Are they the huge ones? Oh, it's just like that guy from A Bug's Life. Look at him. Look at him. Rhinoceros beetles are cool. Also, it's actually wild how much specifically this one right here looks like a rhinoceros. Like, it has little, like, ears, except they're not ears. Lovely, wanna hold. God. I will say, I'm no coward, especially if someone's like, do you want to hold this animal? Like, I always say yes. But I have held a couple of kinds of insects in my life. I've also held, like, some arachnids. So I've held bugs. And I must say, there's just something about little bug feet that I hate the feeling of. I hate it. I can't do it. I just, like, I held a hissing cockroach once, and I was like, I want this thing off me. It just, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I'm just saying, it's the truth. Take it back. I will not budge on my stance about insect feet. He's right there. He can hear you. He doesn't even have ears. Those aren't ears. Anyways. We were talking about beetle life cycles. Anyways. But, like, for example, back to the parasite thing. Like, we might talk about parasites very briefly in here because that's a thing. Oh, yeah? What are they, then? What's what? What's what? They mate. I don't care about that right now. The female lays eggs, usually on a leaf or in rotten wood. If not ears. They're just bumps. Yeah, do you not have bumps? She's got bumps. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. Most popular animals. Aquatic warbler. Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but it's fine. I just want to know what an aquatic warbler is. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Let me. Let me. A baby. Of course, I have bumps. That's how I hear. Look at him. No wonder he's so popular. It's an old world warbler. Sorry. Okay, we're getting off track. I just got excited about the word warbler. Okay. All I really care about is this. Like, I think the general or like a common strategy for bugs is like you just lay the eggs somewhere like kind of hidden and like on or near food. Like, I think, you know, some, what are they, monarch butterflies like lay their eggs on milkweed, I believe it's called. Is that what it is? Milkweed or something like that. Look at that sleepy dude bottom right. Oh. 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 Okay. Yeah, there's a monarch butterfly. So I think they just lay their eggs on the milkweed. So then when the babies hatch, like the caterpillars can come right out and just munch right on the leaves that are right there. And it's just that easy. Just that easy, I tell you. I'm just going to check my audio again. So I'm checking it every once in a while to make sure everything's good. BRB heading to Galapagos to see Sleepy Dude. God, the Galapagos Islands would be so cool to visit. Got a lot of birds there. Also, like, really big tortoises. Okay. Sleepy Dude. Okay, so we talked a little bit about bugs. I think... Yeah, I did want to talk about... I think there are some invertebrates, like spiders, that will, like, carry on their babies for a bit. Yeah. Which is horrifying, obviously, but... But he's kind of cute. They just wear the babies. There's your babies. I promise we're not going to stay on insects forever. This is not an insect, but... So this is some form of parental care where obviously, like, they have eggs, and then the eggs hatch, and they carry around the babies for some time, I guess, until they're big enough to, like, have a better chance at fending for themselves. I won't stay on that one. I know people are freaked out by spiders. So that's like a level up of like parental care. And then there's stuff like how do bees care for their young? Bees care for their young in surprising and complex ways. Insect only channel? No, I can't. I don't have any. Well, no, I do have insects here actually, but it's only because they feed the geckos. I have mealworms, and sometimes I have crickets, but crickets are very loud, sorry, and stinky, and if they escape, they're a nightmare to catch again. So I will say though, like, you know, what's that thing, like in Karate Kid when the master guy like catches the fly with the chopsticks? I'm not on that level, but I can catch crickets with tongs without like killing them, which is important. It requires commitment, and you gotta be fast. Takes practice. Not everyone can do it, okay? So bees actually will have, I think, like little like nurseries. Like we all know they have the big, what are they called? Not honeycombs, but like I guess, yeah, in the frames they have, I don't know, they have, what are they called? The little hexagon things. It's gonna bother me. It doesn't matter. But they'll have, you know, areas in their, oh my god, this is gonna kill me. What is it called? They're the little things in the hives, which they fill them with like either babies or they fill them with like honey or like wax. I can't remember what they're called. Whatever. But of course, in the beehive there is one queen who lays all of the eggs, and with honeybees and whatnot, so there's worker bees that are inside the hive, and all the worker bees are actually female, and I believe they only have half the chromosomes or something like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. No. It's not a honeycomb. It's just the thingy, because it's not necessarily honeycomb, unless it is. Hold on. I'm just gonna look up honeycomb. Maybe it is the honeycomb. It's the wax cells. I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is the honeycomb. So I guess they fill the combs with, again, they can fill them with like honey or wax, or they fill them with babies. The egg lays an egg. The queen lays an egg that hatches in a few days. The larva spins a web in the cell, becoming a pupa, and the nurse bees seal the cell over the beeswax. The worker bee will emerge 12 days later. A queen bee goes through her life cycle in 16 days. A worker emerges at 21 days, and the drone bees, which are the males that are really only good for making babies, emerges from his cell at 24 days after they were laid as an egg. Raising baby bees requires a lot of effort and food. So they have their own little like nursery areas. Of course, the queen has lots of bees that like take care of her, make sure she's all good, and defend her, obviously. They also, so the eggs need to be kept at a certain temperature, which makes sense because that's sort of thing overall, which is like development can only happen between a certain range of temperatures, and that range of temperatures is different for different animals. And in some animals, like in some reptiles, the temperature can actually determine if it'll be male or female, which is so cool. So cool. They maintain an ambient and constant temperature of 95 degrees Fahrenheit. In the brood chamber, the hive box where the bees raise the brood, there's different colors of pollen, the protein that's indispensable to baby bee growth. Nurse bees will visit an individual larva 10,000 times before it's capped as a pupa. The last day before the larva becomes a pupa, it will be visited 3,000 times. How do you think they figured this out? Which is approximately 4 hours and 45 minutes. Oh, the last day? The colony consumes 66 to 88 pounds of pollen per year to raise the brood. The bees also store honey around the brood. So, I mean, I think the again, as we sort of talked about before, the main reason that bees, and I think ants are like this too, they put so much effort into caring for their babies is because, you know, the more numbers they have, the more numbers they have, you know, the bigger the colony is, the stronger the new babies are coming out. Like the better the hive is, the more likely it is to survive, which is important. Like, because if you think about it, like at the very, very, very base of it, animals like are driven to survive until they can reproduce, and that's sort of the very like basest instinctual thing. It's obviously gets a lot more complicated than that, but that's nature. But if you think about it, like an individual, you know, like say one solitary beetle, it caring for more babies like would ensure their survival, but it doesn't necessarily ensure the survival of the beetle. And if the beetle can make multiple like if it can reproduce multiple times, especially in a short time, it's probably better just leave the babies, because it's better if the adult survives to make more babies than to spend its, you know, time and energy caring for those ones. Whereas with social animals like bees, it is more beneficial, like they, oh my god, I just had a heart attack. I looked up and Jasper, who's my little snake, he's right there and he's staring at me from the corner. What do you want? You want food? Is that what this is? That just scared the crap out of me. I'm gonna take a picture. What a little creep. What are you doing? What are you doing up there? Hold on. Let me take a better picture. What do you want? What do you want? All right. He's just staring at me. I totally lost the string of what I was saying, because it's just a man looking directly at me. I don't like it. I wish I could show you, but I can't. Prove it. I mean, I could put a picture in the Discord, but I want to move my whole, I'd have to lift up my entire computer. God, he's just there. He's just there. Hold on. I mean, I could like show you the picture on the camera, but it's not gonna be nice. Anyways, hold on. Actually, I have an idea. I'll be able to. I'll show you the picture. Just give me a second, if you want proof. But genuinely, he's just like squished in the corner, and he looks like he's staring at me, and I am uncomfortable. Maybe he missed me. I mean, he definitely did not, because he is a snake and has no emotional scope. But you never know. Maybe. Okay, this is too much work. You're just gonna have to believe me. We're gonna get back to what we were talking about. God, what was I talking about? Oh, yes. So an individual, like, beetle or something, it may not be as worth it to care for one, like, set of babies versus just going and making more babies, but you know, for the social animals, it's about the survival of the whole hive. So, you know, bees and ants tend to be a lot more, what's the word? Like, not not like brave, but like they don't care as much about their own survival, which is why they'll go out and like fight. Because again, they're wired to serve the whole hive, the whole nest, versus just trying to make themselves survive, and they act differently because of that. And it's the same thing with the babies, is, you know, ensuring the survival of the hive is the most important thing. So they spend a lot of time nurturing the babies. Bee nutrition is complex. Once the queen lays an egg, there's bees start taking care of it. It gets fed royal jelly for the first few days. If it's going to become a worker bee, it's fed bee bread. Feeding a potential worker bee the bee bread actually stunts her growth, so she doesn't become a queen bee. If a larva is to become a queen bee, she is fed royal jelly the entire time she's developing, which allows her to grow larger and fully develop, so she's able to lay eggs. I don't remember exactly why there's only ever one queen at a time, but that's how it is. That's how it is. Can't be having multiple queens at the same time. Before the bees feed the ball into the brood, they'll mix it with honey and water, making bee bread. Oh my god. They let the bee bread start to ferment, which opens the granules of pollen, making it easier for the brood to digest. At this point, the bee bread is then fed to the brood that is to become the worker and drone bees. What about the drones? What do the drones eat? Or did I just skip on past that? If it's gonna become a worker, you get bee bread. Varying colors pollen. Interesting thing about honeybees, which makes them perfect pollinators, is once a honeybee goes to a particular floral source, I can say words, she will only go to that type of flower until she has enough nectar and pollen to go back to the hive. Okay. Oh, as a platform for how bees care for their young. That's so weird. Okay. The beehive is an incredibly complex and delicate ecosystem. They have to have exactly correct solutions of nutrition for each stage, including for a new queen. So that's a little bit about bees. We're going to look at how do ants care for their young. All ant species need shelter places to nest and take care of their offspring. Kids inquiring of diverse species. Formicidae. Ants. Fourmi is ants in French. Ants are skinny insects. Okay, well I think this is not focused enough on. Baby ants have a host of unexpected superpowers. Oh my god. Everything you should know about ants. Exterminator, no! God, what are their superpowers? No one would call a baby ant cute. They start life as an unsightly worm-like larva, and they're terrifying. If they're not vomiting into the mouth of an adult, they're greedily devouring each other. I feel like ants are scarier than bees. I don't know if you've ever watched. Sometimes, especially lately, I did this a little bit where I watched videos. Oh, Jasper's gone. I don't know where he went. Of like bee showdowns, or not bee showdowns, like insect showdowns, I guess. And there was one where it was like, oh, like ants versus like a scorpion, and ants are friggin' terrifying. Like they'll take down anything. I did watch, I think, a wasp nest versus an ant colony, And I think something happened to the ants that put them at a disadvantage, but otherwise they were winning until that happened. Okay. Grown-up ants do not simply tolerate this behavior, they depend on it. The young of some insects, like termites, are often shaped like mini adults. Oh, I forgot about termites. Ant larvae are rarely blessed with such features. Their limbless bodies seem to make them incapable of much movement, given the impression they are merely passive objects dependent on adult care. God, Jesus. Ants. Ant-Man. They don't even have antenna. That's a baby? No, that's a seed for food. Bullet ants. I don't know. Ants are also just a lot scarier looking. They're just they got so many limbs, and I don't know. It's funky. Some ant larvae signal to adults that they're hungry by swaying and moving their blobby bodies in distinct ways. Thought you were saying Lance for a sec. Lance man. Some larvae are... Wait. Others, like the larvae of bulldog ants, stand upright. Excuse me? They do what? I'll call him over. I wish you talk. Oh my god. They're predators. Well, I want to know what a baby looks like. Show me a baby. Show me the baby. They're not gonna show me the baby. Okay. Some larvae are actually mobile despite their lack of eggs. I hate this. Ants. Ant-Man. Moreover, ant grubs conceal unusual body features. The tiny, elongated heads of Messina ants, for example, are perfectly adapted to feeding. I'm gonna just skip over the next part of that. They have unique structures in their bellies that act as food baskets, allowing them to hold on to their prey. Okay, this is not what I... Lance man. Oh my god, some of them have hooks on the end of their hairs which allow adults to attach them to the wall of their nests. They hang up the brood as a way of organizing them and determining feeding times. Honestly, I'm learning more than I actually wanted to. I'm upset. They can communicate. I just wanted to know how much ants take care of their babies, but like now I'm kind of freaked out. God, those don't look real. They look like popcorn. During floods, some ants exploit the natural buoyancy of their larvae to help save the colony. My god. Larval behavior, BRB gotta scream. Honestly, I need to go scream. Larval behavior may be even more bizarre than their little-known physical features. They often act as a communal stomach. Adults have such a thin waist they can only consume fluids. Larvae eat insect on behalf of the adults, and then just bleh, bleh. That's what they do. Okay. Good stuff. This is good stuff. I don't know if I want to read the rest of this. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. The larva drool on the flower. Okay. This is too much. This is... I'm gonna put this somewhere and I'm gonna come back to this. Like when it's Halloween scream time. I'm gonna put this somewhere. Hold on. I'm gonna put this in my notes. There we go. So, that's enough about insects, I think. That's been lots about insects. Let's go back really quickly to like looking at bees with hats. Wait. Just for a little, yeah, that. Just a little mind cleanse. Look at them. Look at them. They're wonderful. Look at them. Look at them. A bee hat. They're just here with their hats. Was just screaming with Sam. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta scream. Very warm. Okay. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. We were God, that was only like the first one. So we're gonna talk about fish now, I think. I'm gonna stretch like so. I'm gonna check my lighting. It's fine. I didn't turn on the big light in my room, but it's fine. You can still see my face. Very suspicious now. The little rat. Where is he? I mean, he's not a rat. Unless you are what you eat. He does eat, well, mice. God, my face is pink because I'm warm. I could put on shorts. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to put on shorts. I'm going to turn on the big light. So on and so forth. We'll come back. We'll talk about fish. I'll be back. Bye! I'm back. I'm back. I put shorts on. I did other things. I'm back. It is honestly like between the wall and my room, it's like a 5-degree difference, or at least that feels like it. Oh God, look at these those emotes. I can say good words. God. All right, what were we talking about? We were talking about bees, but we were gonna talk about fish. So fish, I actually have like a real sort of categorization for fish, although I don't know totally like what fish are what and so on and so forth. Oh God. No. Hang on. Stop doing that, please. My other computer is being very silly at this moment. Okay, whatever. But I actually, I think it was like this. Was what I was looking at earlier. Yeah. Oh my God! Look at the babies. That. God, I love looking at baby fish. They're just so tiny, and there's so many of them. The black spots are developing eyes. They're gonna have eyeballs. Oh my God, that's so cool. Anyway, but ooh, sexual strategies. Monogamy. Well, yeah, this is. Well, how about we come back to this? We'll come back to that. Although I guess it does relate to fish too, and fish also do that. Sure, we'll just look through this whole thing. Basic strategies. So the 4 basic mating systems are monogamy, 1 male, 1 female, polygyny, single male, multiple females, multiple males with a single female, which is polyandry, and polygynandry. I think that, like, basically, like, in the there are some animals, like there's some birds, and it's saying right there, cutthroat trout are monogamous, so they'll mate like for life, basically. Which we all think is very, very cute, but most animals don't do that, I don't think. Oh. And then out of polygyny and polyandry, I think the polygyny is more common, like because that's more you think about like, oh, the God, my brain is not working. Like prides of lions, like there's usually lots of females and maybe a couple young males, but usually the males get driven out, and like that's like that with wild horses and so on and so forth. And I don't know actually. I don't know off the top of my head any species where there's a single female and lots of males. Like, in for a lot of animals, it's like a female might mate with lots of different males, across the same time period, across the life. Like, that's just how it be. Don't bees do that? That's a good point, actually. Well, no, you're right. You're right. It is. You're a smart boy. Bees do that. Yeah, because there's one queen, and lots of males will mate with the one queen because that's basically like that's what they do. That's what they're there for. They're for mating. The worker bees are all female. Um, yeah. So that's that one. Monogamy occurs when one male mates with one female exclusively. This is also called pair spawning. Most fish not monogamous. When they are, they often alternate with non-monogamous behaviors. Oh my god, fish ain't faithful. Monogamy can occur when feeding and breeding grounds are small, which is difficult for fish to find partners, or when both sexes look after the young. So that's something we'll get into more later, which is again with fish there tends to be even more of a variation. Like there's what's it called? I think it's like broken up into non-garters, like the ones that are just like you're on your own. There's like garters who guard their babies, and then there's brooders, which like either have their babies on them or like in them. Many tropical cichlids, which rear their young together in locations where they must fiercely defend against competitors and predators, are monogamous. In some pipefishes and seahorses, development of eggs takes a long time before the female can place them in the brood pouch of the male where they're fertilized. While the male is pregnant, the female starts a new batch of eggs, and then I guess it's just a cycle. That's cute. Polygyny occurs when one male gets exclusive mating rights with multiple females. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Usually the biggest male has to defend the females from other males. I feel like that's the one that people commonly think of with all of this. The male chooses large males that are successfully defending prime breeding sites, which the females find attractive. Sculpin males defend caves underneath rocks, which are suitable for the incubation of embryos. Another way males get to mate with several females is leks. They're places where many fish come together and the males display to each other, and then the females select the one they want them to be their mate. Polyandry occurs when one female gets exclusive mating rights with multiple males. This happens with clownfish that can change their sex. It can also happen when males do the brooding, like in pipefish, so on and so forth. There's also cuckoldry. Can develop in species where spawning is dominated by large and aggressive males. So there can be sneak spawners. Yeah, I think that's kind of a thing where it can be like it's talking about so much as like they literally just like sneak in when the male's like not looking, or it can even go so far I think as the smaller sneaky males will actually pretend to be females so they can mate with the other females. Jack males are common. These are small silvery males that migrate upstream with standard large hook males and then spawn by sneaking into a spawning nest. Spooky. And there's hermaphroditism, unisexuality, when a species is all male or all female. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, but this is the thing I actually want to talk about, which is spawning strategies in fish. So, again, we start, like, it kind of goes from, like, the most hands off, fins off, whatever you want to call it, like the least amount of work to the most amount of work. So first of all, we have the non-garters, which they just don't do anything with their eggs except like let them go. They might attach them to something or like make a little nest, but like the babies are on their own. So there's open substrate spawners, which scatter their eggs throughout the environment. So that's usually just like, let them go. Then there's broadcast spawners, which just release their gametes. And that's the one, so that's like what we talked about, where it's like, you know, stuff that's sessile, stuff that doesn't move around. A lot of them are broadcast spawners because they can't really move around or don't really move around. So like trying to find a mate would be friggin' impossible. So they just like let all the eggs or sperm out and like hopefully like they mix together. That's the whole strategy. Pelagic spawners spawn in the open ocean, mostly near the surface. Usually pelagic fish like tuna or sardines, which actually move around. It also means that water currents disperse the eggs. Great. They're very buoyant. The downside is mortality is high. Yes. Benthic spawners just put their babies near the bottom. They typically spawn without ceremony. There's no courtships. Yeah, and then the last one for that is the brood hider. So that's like one step beyond the just like, okay, just like release the eggs, or like release them near the top, release them near the bottom, just release them everywhere. Is the fish that like they don't actually do anything after the eggs are laid. They just like hide them so they're a little more likely to survive than if they were just to be released. Okay, my interview is going to start soon, so I'm going to head out for a bit. Have fun. Good luck. I love you. I'll probably still be streaming when you're done, depending how long I can talk about fish for. I love you. Wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck. You are so loved. I gotta... Sorry, I just gotta... had a brain thing for a moment. So those are the brood hiders. Egg barriers, even. Barriers. But like, not like, stop, it's a barrier, but like, I'm gonna hide it under sand. Can inhabit waters that dry up at some time of year, like killifish, which lay their eggs in mud. Bitterlings have a remarkable reproduction strategy where parents transfer responsibility of their care to mussels. Care their young to mussels. That's funny, because I think we've talked about this before. So, I guess bitterlings put their eggs into mussels, but we also talked about before how there's some kinds of mussels that will actually... Just so you're clear on like what a mussel is, I'm gonna put this up in case anybody doesn't know. They're little like bivalves, like they have a shell. They look like this. Okay, I did, but like not it like in the wild. Like not the when you're eating them. Yeah, this is what they look like. And mussels, yeah, mussel lure, that's what I want. Some mussels have actually evolved the skin, you know, sort of towards the opening of their shell to look like a fish. And what will happen is a fish that wants to eat this smaller looking fish will come by, and when it gets close enough, the mussel will actually grab onto them and shoot their babies at the fish's face, and these teeny tiny itty bitty little mussels will actually clamp onto the fish's gills. So I guess this is kind of fair turnaround in that there's mussels that, you know, force their eggs onto fish, and there's fish that force their eggs onto mussels. So it all works out in the end. Yeah, the female extends her ovipositor into the mantle cavity and just pops them in there. God, that's wild. And yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, because so with the fish that put them into the mussels, they're well protected because the mussels have a pretty solid shell, unless they get eaten, obviously, which can happen. But like in a full-grown mussel, it's less likely to happen. And, you know, the other way around, which is the fish, or sorry, the mussels that shoot their babies onto the gills of fish, is the extra bonus with that, other than being protected, is, you know, mussels don't move around. They can move, but they don't move around a whole ton because they're not really set up for it. Is that helps the babies to get to different areas, which is good because they'll just kind of drop off when they're developed enough. I don't know. That chocolate's really calling me. It's just sitting there. I should not have brought it into my room. So that's kind of the stage one. That's the non-garters. And then we have the garters, which, as you can imagine, guard their eggs. Garters protect their eggs and offspring after spawning by practicing parental care. Eat, bite, cam. I mean, I could have like a little piece, like a half a piece, maybe. Like just a small. I'm just breaking this chocolate to people. That's very good. It's caramel and sea salt chocolate. I'm sorry you're experiencing this. It's very good though. Parental care is an investment by parents in offspring. Can take a variety of forms like guarding, nest building, fanning, splashing, removal of dead eggs, retrieval of straying fry. That's my favorite one. I'm gonna set my friggin' Discord message to retrieving stray fry. I don't know, but later I'm gonna make a note about that. Retrieving stray fry. Good. Very good. Okay. Yes. Hi, River. It's good to see you. I'm getting lost. Okay, I have the appropriate things open. It's fine. I am zooming through for learnings. That's great. I'm glad you missed the insect part, because it got rough there for a bit. I'm here to learn. Yes, we're talking about fish. We're talking about fish parents. And I was just saying, fish. So we're on to the fish that actually give parental care, which can involve guarding, nest building, fanning, splashing, removal of dead eggs, retrieval of straying fry, which is my favorite. I love that you call baby fish fry. I must go now. I have learned so much about rough bugs and adulting fish. No problem. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. Territorial behavior is generally necessary for garters. So this is more, I think, like, you have ones that will build nests, you'll have ones that will have the, like, adhesive eggs that they'll stick them onto, like, rocks or stuff like that and take care of them. I think they usually still try to have them in a place that's easier to defend than, like, just being out in the open, but who knows. Guarding males keep the embryos safe from predators. Keep oxygen levels high by fanning water currents, and keep the area free from dead embryos and debris. Damselfish are substrate spawners, which build nests, and some don't. Nest spawners and substrate spawners. The difference can be small. Substrate spawners clean off a suitable area and look after the area, but they don't actually build a nest, and I guess the nest builders build a nest, as you can imagine. It is cool to watch. I will say, I know before on this channel we have watched, like, videos on YouTube, and I love watching videos of animals, but I have uploaded some VODs to YouTube and stuff, and it gets very mad at me if I, like, watch something like a BBC video on stream, so I'm gonna try not to do that so it doesn't hit me with, like, copyright strikes. Ideally. So, just so you know, if I don't watch a video you send me on stream, that is why. Okay, now where were we? So we're at substrate spawners, and then there's another one, right? Isn't there another one? Or maybe it is just the substrate and nest. Hold on, let me look at my notes that are over here. Hold on. Oh yeah, we just had, yeah, it's they either, like, put them in the substrate or they actually build a nest. Those are, like, that's really it. And then we have the especially cool ones. Actually, I remember the thought I was having earlier, which is, it is very cool to watch animals, like, specifically the fish that, like, take care of the eggs and they, you know, fan water currents over. It's really cool to watch, or they like blow on them gently. It's adorable. You should look it up. The time spent gardening can range from a few days to several months. There's also on the side, oh, there's even more things that I missed. For non-garters, open substrate spawners. There's pelagic, there's benthic, it's bit. Spawners on plants, obligatory, non-obligatory. So I guess sometimes they must, and sometimes they do not must. Did I miss that part? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We got the gist of it. Although it's been like an hour and I'm only through like 1.5 of the things I was going to talk about. Although I guess these are the ones I was mostly going to talk about. Because we're going to get to like birds. And I don't know that much about birds, I'll be honest. Birds are probably the group of animals I know the least about. Okay, we have bearers, which I think are the coolest ones. So you have external bearers, which, like, it's basically the difference between, are they actually developing, like, in the womb or, like, the reproductive parts, or are they, like, external bearers, which they can have, like, them in their mouth. It's sippy. Take a sippy. And I think is it groupers? Maybe, I don't think it's groupers. There is some cichlids. Okay, cichlids do mouth brooding. It's very cool. It's very cool. I'm gonna look up a picture. Mouth brooding fish. Because that is probably my favorite one. God, I've got itchy everything. They just have their babies. And again, I'm not gonna go watch videos, but you should, because like watching them just shoot them out of their mouth and then bring them back in, it's very good stuff. God, look at this. Look at it. It's honestly horrifying. Look at them. You can just see the little eyeballs. God. They just carry them around in their mouth. Okay, anyway. I'm pretty sure, too, with the mouth brooders, there are some, species where they will, like, infiltrate the mouth of a mouth brooder, and they'll, I think, eat the other babies. Anyway. So there is mouth brooders. They can be, I don't know, ovophiles, egg maker. They lay eggs and then immediately take the eggs into their mouth. The male then fertilizes the eggs in the female's mouth. Okay. Okay, that's good. The fry remain there for a period of time. The female sees the spots. Egg spots, which are color spots on the anal fin of the male. When the female sees these spots, she tries to pick them up, but she can't. Oh my god. Many cichlids and some labyrinth fish are mouth brooders. Larvophile or larva-loving mouth brooders lay their eggs on a substrate and guard them until the eggs hatch, and then the female picks them up and keeps them in her mouth. Some earth eaters? Oh my god. I'm sorry, I just need to know what this is real quick. Earth eater sounds so much cooler. Sand eater? Oh my god. I guess they're just cichlids. But it's cool. It's pretty cool. Also, I'm not gonna lie, my voice is a little sore because this happens every single time I drive home, because what has been happening lately is I listen to Hamilton on the way home, and Hamilton is a bop, and you can't not sing along to Hamilton. And so I just like spend 2 hours singing, and then my throat is sore from singing. And obviously on top of that, I'm doing a stream, and then so my throat just hurts. And that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it just be that way. Oh god, I've done silly. Hold on one second. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to double check again that my audio was fine, and it is. Oh, there goes my headphones. Frog! We're gonna get to frogs, although if frogs or salamanders do anything special other than just like leave their fish alone or their babies alone, we'll get there. That's after fish. We're not done with fish yet. I haven't talked about the freakiest shark. Yeah, maybe October I'll just gather all the freakiest animals I can find and just that's what we'll look at. Talk about frogs that kind of like fish. Yeah, we'll get there. So we have the mouth brooders, and then we have internal bearers, which is more what we think about with like animals that don't lay eggs. Like they have the babies inside them when the babies are ready to come out and be on their own. They come out. Facultative internal bearers. The beginning of the process occurs. What are we talking about? I don't even. I just read through that and I don't know what it means. Then play spooky game, perhaps. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I could do that. We could do spooky games and talking about spooky animals. Obligate internal bearers. The next step in the evolution is by necessity, where the female retains all the embryos. The only source of nutrition for these embryos is the egg yolk. Wait. I need to go back because I'm a little confused at this point. Optional. It happens in several species of egg-laying killifish, which spawn the normal way, but in the process accidentally fertilize eggs, which the female retains and does not spawn. They're spawned later. So I guess they're just they stay inside for a bit, as opposed to these ones have to. They retain all the embryos until when? Is it externally? Oh, I guess the difference though is like because eggs have the egg yolk, which is like the nutrition, and that is what the egg draws from to like fuel growth and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, if we move on way later to mammals and stuff like that, like non-eggs is the baby's attached right to the mom. And I guess what it's saying here is an obligate internal bearers. They're still eggs and they're still like they're not attached to the mom or anything like that. It's not drawing energy directly from a mom like in humans, for example. And then there's viviparous fish, like the gambusia, who thought to be oviparous until the embryos receive nutrients from the mom. Okay, this is where I wanna get my notes out also, because there's something I wanted to talk about here, and I don't think I can again show the video of it, but that's okay because the video is kind of gross. Yeah, so also there is like the mouth brooders, and I think those are the most exciting, but I think there are some fish where the eggs are like carried on the fins or like their belly, like elsewhere, like not just the mouth, even though that's the funnest one and that's the one we'd care about the most. Whatever. Oh yeah, this is the thing I want to talk about. I believe it's tiger sharks. Tiger shark young, where what happens is, yeah, tiger sharks mate with internal fertilization, and is it this one? I believe it's tiger sharks, where it's like there will be multiple eggs all developing at the same time inside the mother, and then basically the first baby who develops to a certain point will just eat the other ones that are in there. Like it's just cannibalization will also in a or not a stomach, but like in the reproductive organ. It's messed up, I tell you. It's messed up. I think it's this one. I think it's tiger sharks. Now I need to know. Predation by killer whales. Sorry. No. Maybe it's not. Okay, no. Tiger shark. Some species practice intrauterine cannibalism, or eating the other fertilized or unfertilized eggs in the womb. Sand tiger shark, specifically. Okay. So they have 2 uteri and make lots of eggs, but each litter gets only 2 pups because they ate all the other ones to get the nutrients. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that a good time? I'm having a good time. God, what is this picture? So shiny and pink. I hate it. Okay. We can stop looking at baby sharks now. Okay, we can stop looking at baby sharks now, I said. So that kind of covers most of the range of what like goes on with fish. Either they don't really care about their babies, they care a little bit about their babies, or they care a lot about their babies. That's how it be, that's how it goes. Oh, I need a breather for a second. I'm tired. I did talk about this at the start of the stream, but oh, sorry, I closed the browser by accident. Ooh. I did talk about this at the start of the stream, but like I've just been like going all day and like stressed all day, so I'm just glad I even got to streaming, frankly. Although my throat is hurting at this point, so I don't know how long I will last. The good news is we have a, what are they called? The thing you make hot water in, a kettle. We have a kettle, but I brought another kettle so I can have a kettle in my room so that when I'm streaming I can just have extra hot water for my tea. Because even though it's very warm in here today, it is only getting colder outside, even though it's nice out today. So I will need tea in the coming times. There's hard times ahead. So that was a little bit about fish. We got throw the fish. I think we talked about all the things we want to talk about. We did. Which means now we are on to frog. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if frogs do anything special. Wait, there's also examples down here. Hold on, we're going to look at the examples really quick. Goldfish are egg layers. What? Okay. Okay, bubble nests. That's cool. Foam nests. Copepods do broadcast spawning. Spiny lobsters. This is where they're not fish, but they're in the ocean. It's close enough. Spiny lobsters carry the babies with them until they hatch. Mollusks, they're broadcast spawners. Cephalopods. I believe also, because as we finish up like fish and related things in the ocean, I believe that octopuses also, like they care for their eggs and stuff like that. And they'll fight. They will fight. Some species brood their fertilized eggs. They'll construct shelters. Other cephalopods deposit their young under rocks and aerate them with their tentacles. Mostly the eggs are left to their own devices. They lay sausage-like bunches of eggs. Cuttlefish lay eggs separately. Like salmon, cephalopods are mostly semmelporous, spawning many eggs in one match and then dying. Cephalopods usually live fast and die young. My god, that's good stuff. I'm gonna tweet that right now. But I'm gonna tweet that. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna tweet it. I don't know if I care. Amphibious abordables. Because I'm pretty sure, so amphibians lay their eggs in water still. They don't lay their eggs on land. That's one of the like big differences between reptiles and frogs, at least, you know, what we tell the children. That they have different skin, and there's another one, and metamorphosis is the other one. Snakes do not go through, or reptiles do not go through metamorphosis. They kind of look the same their whole lives, but amphibians do go through metamorphosis. Amphibians have successfully solved most of the problems related to exposure to air, but they do still, almost all amphibians spawn in water. I wonder who doesn't. Yeah, because again, they, like, as you probably know, they all start out as an amphibious creature, and then they become like a more terrestrial but still pretty aquatic creature. Did I say amphibious? I meant aquatic. It's fine. They usually spawn gelatinous egg masses with thousands of eggs in the water. Different species lay eggs in distinctive and identifiable ways. The eggs are highly vulnerable to predation, so in cold areas, the embryos black to absorb more heat to speed up development. Many individuals breed at the same time, which again, I think, yeah, this is one of the things where I'm pretty sure amphibians generally just go for the like lay just an absolute butt ton of eggs, and they do it all at the same time. So like some of them will survive. God, my chair's really squeaking. Hope you guys can't hear that too much. Some species avoid predators by laying it on eggs or leaves above the pond. And then the tadpoles drop into the water upon hatching. So that's, I think, one of the main reasons. I mean, the eggs, like, because there's multiple stages in development, but both the eggs and multiple stages of the amphibians being larvae, like, have to be in the water or, like, in a very, very wet environment. So they're always laid in or very, very near the water. Aquatic eggs usually hatch within 1 week. Unlike salamanders and newts, frogs and toads never become sexually mature while still in their larval stage. Well, okay. Yeah, I would love to say more about them, but honestly, I don't know that there's many exceptions to the, like, they just kind of lay them and they're on their own. Frogs live, you know, fast and also die young. I don't know. Cannibalism has been observed among tadpoles. Early developers who gain legs may be eaten by the others? That's not what I expected, honestly. So late bloomers survive longer? What? Okay. So that was a little bit about amphibians. I'm sorry we did not stay longer and the amphibians. I only have so much knowledge. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to take another break really quick. I just need a brain break for a second. I'm going to lay on my bed for like 2 minutes. I'll be back again. I'm back. Here I am. So we just talked about amphibians, and I think now we're going to talk about reptiles. That's the next logical step, right? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, because so it has... Oh, God, I opened the wrong thing. Open the wrong thing. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you, I'm back. Sea turtles are amphibious reptiles, but they're not amphibians. Oh, sorry. Before I just want to look at aquatic insects really quick. Just kidding. It's literally like a 3-sentence section. Forget it. So, I'm not going to read this yet. But, again, like, to my understanding, again with reptiles, like, generally, like, they will go to, like, a little more length just because, again, of the, like, terrestrial thing where, eggs don't necessarily survive if you just lay them anywhere. So some reptiles, like turtles particularly, will dig out little nests and bury their eggs, but that's as far as parental care goes. Like even sea turtles will, like, I'm not even looking at the Wikipedia, but oh, that was the wrong thing. Oh my, that's a lot of words right there. But again, even sea turtles that spend basically all their time in the water will actually come out of the water to lay their eggs on land. And I think this part of that is it helps against predations. They're less likely to get eaten than if they were laid in the water. And because they can survive on land, I guess, because turtle eggs are more resilient than, like, amphibian eggs, for example. The babies swim to the ocean. Yeah. Each year, the returning turtles dig between 6,000 and 15,000 nests, often returning to the same beach from where they hatched. Female turtles control the process. Yeah, they dig holes with their hind flippers and pop those babies in. How you swim to the ocean? You just use one leg and then the other leg. But that's kind of, like, to my knowledge, that's about as far as, like, turtles tend to go in terms of care. We have, you know, alligators and stuff, and I believe alligators carrying babies. I believe that alligators actually do a fair bit of baby care, like more than most reptiles. Look at them. They carry their babies around. Where's the ones where there's lots of babies in their mouth? But I believe it's alligators where they will actually, like, I think they still make a nest, but they'll actually defend their eggs and then they take care of the babies. How long do maybe it's crocodiles? I don't know. I can never remember. 2 years. Babies stay with their mom for the first 2 years of life. So honestly, that's probably, especially among reptiles, but even among, like, mammals and stuff, like, that's a long time. That's 2 whole years of looking after babies. I mean, it's nothing compared to, like, what we do, but you know, but so, you know, comparatively, most stuff like snakes, like, a lot of snakes, again, will sort of just lay their eggs and maybe, you know, lay them in a secluded spot or even, like, make a little nest for them, but generally they're on their own. Although there also are some, like, I believe ball pythons will guard their eggs to some degree, and they will actually wrap their bodies around the eggs specifically to help them incubate and help keep the heat. This is not what I was looking for. Sure. The mother will even forego food. This is just a... Oh, that's cute. 50. How many eggs they lay. They will... They will protect their babies, it seems. I don't think this is the site I want to look at. Hello there, Andy Shin. How are you doing today? We're just looking at snakes and we're looking at babies and stuff like that. But I believe, again, that ball pythons like will help incubate their eggs. And there was some other point I had. I can't remember what it is now. Welcome, you missed the talk about dung beetles earlier. Lucky for you. Yeah, I think it is just that they will protect and help incubate the eggs. But again, I don't know that snakes in general spend all that much time protecting their babies. There are some snakes that do live birth. A lot of snakes lay eggs, but some, I think like boas, I believe, do live birth. Do boa constrictors? No. Protect their babies. Protect babies. That's what we're talking about. So yeah, boas give live birth. That's cool. I don't do animals, but I think I have a green anole living in my backyard. A green-looking lizard. If you don't do animals, what brought you to my stream? Yeah, anoles are cool. They're really small and really fast. I used to take care of some at the place I worked, but they were very fast, and you had to be careful because they're so friggin' small. No, I know, but I want. Sure, do snakes protect their babies? Snakes are not known for taking too much care, but some species will protect the eggs. But I want to know about boa constrictors specifically. Do snakes give birth through their mouth? No. No, they don't. Our children. This is not giving me what I want. I'm just going through smaller science channels and stopping by. Well, that's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I noticed, like, there is not necessarily a shortage of like animal related channels, but there's a ton of like look at the animals channels, and there's not a ton. Well, I don't know that I've really seen any that like just talk about animals, and I love talking about animals. So that's what I do here. I also like talking about mental health, but on Wednesdays I talk about animals. But I really just want to know if boa constrictors like they didn't like protect their babies. What about I don't know. I guess we'll never know. But I think in general, once the babies hatch, they're like very much on their own, which is interesting. I think one of the most interesting things. I look for ones with people and cams. I don't like the non-human channels. That's fair. I do occasionally. Oh, thank you for the follow. That's so sweet of you. I don't like the non-human channels. That's fair. I occasionally, like, you know, there's a popular like look at the chickens one, and I like watching that in bits and pieces, but it tends to be, I agree, it's not, it's one of those things that's like, it's more nice to have on in the background than to like actively watch, because it's only sometimes the things happen and there's no, yeah, you can't interact with the chickens, which is upsetting, frankly. I would love to have chickens. That's the dream, having chickens. Anyway, I have reptiles, which is probably as close as I'm going to get to chickens for a while. It's so popular. How can we like chickens so much? I mean, to be fair, chicks are adorable, and people love small, fuzzy, adorable things. So it's fair. It is fair. There is actually, I did look lately, and there was quite a range of, like, I saw like fish, there was rats, I've seen animal, or not owl, I can talk words, camps, and it is cool. I remember, like, I think, like I was saying earlier, the thing about that is it just is not as interactive as like talking to a person and stuff. So but it can be fun to look at. I mean, I sometimes, when I'm not feeling good, I go watch like the live kitten channels. I just see weeds, chickens, weeds. Oh, finally person. Yeah, but even then, right, the person is usually just like, they're, you know, doing their job, I'm sure, of taking care of the chickens or whatever, and you don't really get to interact with them as much. Although I do think this setup of some of those channels is incredibly cool. Like the way you can control stuff and make stuff happen in chat. I think that is very cool, and I don't know that I would ever be able to do that, but it's cool. I think it would be cool because I have, you know, reptiles, but reptiles don't really do anything, but as my BRB screen, to like have something like that, like where you could actually like watch something happening maybe. Although again, reptiles are like literally the worst for having an animal you want to like see move around because they don't do anything. My half my animals just don't come out, and the ones that do come out, they only ever come out because they're hungry. That's it. That's the only reason. Anyways, we're not going to learn apparently if boa constrictors take care of their babies, so I'm going to assume they do not take care of their babies. Oh yeah, I was making a point earlier. The point I was making earlier that my brain just went elsewhere is that one of the interesting things, specifically I know this about snakes, is that when the babies are like come out live instead of in eggs, they tend to be a lot smaller, which is just interesting because you would think that something smaller would probably have even less of a chance to survive. It's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, like here where I live, we have stuff like garter snakes that do live birth and like water snakes and stuff like that and rattlesnakes. And it's very gross and cool to see at the same time. But eggs are definitely easier than trying to catch a bunch of teeny little spaghetti noodles, essentially. Anyways, where was I? I was talking about boa constrictors, and before that I was talking about crocodiles. And there was something else I wanted to look at. Let's just look at really quick before we go on. Do reptiles have feelings? Oh, do reptiles like being pet? Wow. Sorry, I'm just looking at these. Do they have tear ducts? Do they feel pain? Do they lay unfertilized eggs? They do. They can lay unfertilized eggs. Take care of their young. I'm just curious what will come up. Mother pythons, mud snakes, and some skinks wrap their bodies around the eggs to protect them. Alligator mothers carry new hatch babies in their mouths. Some reptiles abandon their eggs. You're on your own. Let's see here. I know I was talking about before, there's something called a monkey-tailed skink, I believe, and I believe those do more parental care than most things. But again, in general, reptiles are very solitary creatures. They're really not social. So lizards devote varying degrees of parental care. Most species are, I can never say that word, oviparous. They lay eggs. Yes, I know, but some species, like the stump-tailed chameleons, may not even live long enough to care for them. Monkey lizard time? Maybe. Abandonment issues. Mostly they just leave them alone. Some lizards do protect their eggs. Five-line skinks, we have those here. The mother will deposit the eggs. She curls around the eggs until hatching time nears. Long-tailed skinks, also very protective of their eggs. It's interesting that, like, again, in the monkey-tail skinks, I think that's the prehensile tail skinks, I think, are also called monkey-tailed skinks. Those lizards I see too, they always sunbathing on the sidewalk. Oh, that's cool. Where are you from? Where I live, so I'm from Canada. And in Canada, we only have one lizard, which is the five-line skink. That's the only one we get to have because we're too far north for most reptiles. But it is interesting that the skinks are the ones that seem to do more protecting. Yeah, prehensile-tailed skinks. I can't believe they would say that and not monkey-tailed skink. They're pretty cool. Because the reason they're called prehensile-tailed skinks or monkey-tailed skink is, as you can imagine, they have a very strong and prehensile tail. Oh, those green ones on the right look like the green anole I saw. Oh god. Where were we? Yeah. Let's look at anoles real quick. Anoles have yeah, we used to have these and they're so friggin' funny. They're just small and they just look like they're judging you all the time. And they have these cool throat flaps. Look at this, man. Oh, that looks bad. Anyway, anoles are cool. Yeah, I've also been to Florida a lot, and there's all kinds of like geckos and anoles and stuff all over the place. They're judging you. That's what they're doing. Oh my god. What's it eating? I have seen also anoles eat other anoles that are like the same size, which is wild. I think it was an anole. Anyway. So that's the prehensile parents. They'll remain with their parents for a period of 6 months to 1 year, which is a lot for reptiles. This time, the parents will actively defend the young. That's nice. Yeah, so let's look a little more. It mentioned a couple kinds of skinks here. So, skink parental care. I'm in Texas. I wanted to get a picture, but it ran away under the house. It's down there somewhere stealing my AC. Oh, yeah. So you're down south where it's nice and warm, and so there's probably lots and lots of reptiles down there. Yeah, we're like, it's interesting here in Canada because, I mean, we don't have a lot of species of reptiles, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, we really don't have any like dangerous reptiles. Like, we don't have any kind of crocodile or alligators here, and we have rattlesnakes, but like the rattlesnakes we have where I live, they're not even really around where I live. They're only in some areas, and they're not that dangerous. Like, even if you got bit by one, you wouldn't like die. Like, they're not comparable to stuff you can find in, you know, the southern United States, or definitely like in like South America or stuff like that. Too cold. Yeah. So like reptiles are ectothermic, which basically just means they're whatever temperatures around them and they get their heat from the outside. And most reptiles and amphibians are not equipped to hibernate. So the ones that live up in Canada obviously have to be able to hibernate. And again, so most lizards are not equipped for that. And so they just don't live up here. They live down south where it's nice and warm. Oh god, that's a whole paper. I don't want a whole paper. Oh, these are all papers. I don't want papers, please. That's a game. Papers, please. This is a lot. I'm gonna look at this one really quick. This is a PDF. Oh, we're getting into like actual research things. Saida about a germ heart. Is she done her interview? Is she back? I miss her. She's missing a monkey tail skink. Monkey tail. I wonder what happens if you just put in monkey lizard. Monkey lizard. It says Saida. Hi, welcome back. Take a sip. I will. Thank you. Ah, that's what comes up when you get monkey lizard. A love of my life, Sal B. Crumb. Do you think he takes care of his babies? Look at him. Upsetting. Okay, anyways. Now that we looked at this, I had a moment where I was like, oh, there's actually something called a monkey lizard. That's cool. And then I read the rest of it and realized it's, you know, Star Wars. So it's not, it's Sal. It's Sal B. Crumb. Salacious B. Crumb. The only Star Wars character that I care about. Except for Baby Yoda. That's different. That was my profile picture for a while. All I want to be is a monkey lizard. That's all I want in life. God, we jumping. Okay, but like look how handsome. They're so cute. God, look at their face. Like, they look like they have some wisdom. R2-D2. No. Only Sal B. Crumb. You don't like him? No. Only Sal B. Crumb. That's it. No one else. Also, sorry, my nose is super itchy. I wanna hold. Yeah, I've, watched people hold these and they like hold on to you, and I love that. I mean, my crested gecko, she doesn't have like an actual prehensile tail, but she does sometimes curl her tail around you when she's like holding on, and it's so cute. It's so cute. You're so cute. I wanna hold. They're just very cute. Oh my god. Wait, can I have a baby? Show me a baby. I want a baby. Coaster clear, fellas. Oh, I totally read that wrong. Coast clear. I really read that as coaster clear. It's okay. Look at that baby. Look at that baby. Baby. Lick. Frog. Oh, I can't do a frog noise. I always say that, and then I'm trying my best anyway. They just do like a like that. That's probably what a frog sounds like, or like a toad. I mean, some of them sound absolutely wild. I mean, some of them sound like chirping. Some of them sound like babies crying. Some of them sound like a banjo. You know? It's just a range. Anyways. I think this is all. Yeah. Long-tailed skinks. Let's look at long-tailed skinks for a little bit. Oh my god, it's a frog, long-tailed. Sun skink. Excuse me. Oh, God, they weren't joking when they said long tail. My God, why does it have such a long tail? What does it need that for? What are you doing? It's literally like twice the length of its body. Wait, this is like a PetSmart. What? They're 13 brand no. Okay, that's an actual animal. God, now I need to know. Yeah, I need to know about their tail. That thing does not look real. It looks too long. It looks like a snake. It looks like it's a snake. Okay. Long-tailed lizards are so named because their tails can easily grow to be 4 times the length of their bodies. That's messed up. Why are their tails so long? They use it for balance and weight distribution while moving swiftly or swimming across the tops of tall grasses. Oh my god. Long-tailed lizards move fast and are extremely agile, but like all reptiles, they enjoy a good long bask in the sun. God, we just got a marvel. Adult size 10 to 12 inches, but the tail is 4/5 of their total length. How long they tail for reaching? They live for 5 years, but 4/5 of that is just tail. Anyways. That's all. I'm sorry. I just want to look at pictures of long-tailed skinks now. God, I can't deal with how long. Look at it. I would literally think that was a snake if I saw that. Maybe that's the point, or like part of it. If you just squint, if you like look from far away and you squint, it looks like a snake. It does. Frog noise clip files. Stop making clips of every time I make noises. God. Look at him. What is he doing? What? I can't deal with how long it is. It's too much. Time to slither away. Take care. Bye, Andy. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great night. God. Oh. Oh, pink tail. It's pink. Long tail lizard. Long tail. That's why you got long. That's a 5-line skink. Okay. Anyway, I feel like we spent lots of time, and I have spent. It's a snake with legs. I mean, I don't think there are snakes with legs. We're getting off track, but it's fine. Snakes used to have arms and legs. Yeah, but like, what about now? Snake with clawed foot found in China? That's horrifying. Where? Where is the... Oh, he has a little leg. Snake with legs. God. No, that's a lizard, but... What is this? Okay, no, really, what is this? That looks like a snake with legs. Isn't that a Gorillaz song? This is what happens when a snake works a genie limp and wishes for legs. Wasn't there a meme about that? Hang on, there's a meme about that. Oh yeah, it's this. Right. Man, being a snake sucks. I wish I had legs. Your wish is my command. God. They all have legs. Billions of tiny legs. God, oh my god, look at this. Oh no, we have stumbled upon a nightmare. It's a nightmare. God, that's rough. Anyways, it's okay. You also have billions of tiny legs. You know, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. I think we have sufficiently. Oh, it's a kitty. Talked about reptiles. Did I talk about all the kinds of reptiles? We did. We talked about, alligators and crocodiles because they do actually do some significant. I think that was the one that was like 2 years. They do some significant care of their babies. They take care of them. Oh my god, guaranteed results of a bat? It's wild. That's upsetting. I want a lifetime guarantee on my bat. Anyway. So we did talk about that. We talked about turtles. I don't think turtles do turtles. Care of their young? I don't even know. They're on their own. Yeah, that's fair. I do drive-by learning. Pew 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 drive-by. Yeah, so crocodiles and alligators probably do the most care. And then lizards, there's some species that do significant care, like the monkey-tailed skink, and like to a lesser degree the long-tailed skink. I learned that they're on their own. The turtles, they're on their own. Yeah, I have learned so much. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Turtles do like nothing. They're like, you are on your own, kid. Nothing. They don't leave them nothing. Something skink. Something alligators are best and big brain now. Okay, bye. Bye, Abby. And then snakes. Some snakes do like some care, but I think in general it doesn't last long, and it's like once the eggs have hatched or the babies like can fuck off on their own, then they're on their own. Generally the reptile, creed is babies on their own. Or in the mouth. Fish and reptiles, you either don't protect your babies or you protect them by putting them in your mouth. That's what it is. That might be a good clip. I want ice cream. I wish I had ice cream. All I have is this chocolate that's taunting me because it's right over there and I want it. I'm not gonna have it. So we've gone through, at this point, we talked about bugs and stuff. We talked about fish. Was that the next one? I guess so. I feel like we spent a while talking about insects. We just were talking about it. I don't know. We talked about insects, and then we talked about fish. We talked very briefly about amphibians because, again, the amphibian, like the reptile creed, is just you are absolutely on your own. Try not to get eaten by, predators or, like, other babies. God, that, like, the early developers might get eaten by the late developers. That messed me up a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Like, God, if you're doing well, you're gonna get eaten. It's very backwards. We just talked about the reptiles, and so now we're on to birds. I'm gonna tell you what I know about birds. Very little. But I do think, like, again, we're going sort of up the ladder in that most, if not all, birds do take care of their young. I mean, in some cases I know, like, mockingbirds, is it? Will, like, pawn their egg off on another bird, but the bird, like, they're still getting the same kind of parental care. They just, like, shove the responsibility off on another animal. But I believe it, like, because birds lay eggs and hatch from eggs, and in general, birds build nests. I don't know. I'm gonna look up, do all birds lay eggs? I actually want to know that. I don't know. Oh, I thought it said no one lays eggs for a second, and I was like, I have been lied to by everything. No bird gives birth to live young. Birds quickly form and lay an egg covered in a protective shell that's incubated outside the body. What month do birds lay eggs? Do all birds carry salmonella? Take care. Yeah, whatever. Take care, whatever. It's fine. There are birds that dispense with every convention of homemaking and parenthood and resort to cunning. Yeah, so that's I think that's sort of following what I was saying before as to what I know, which is I'm pretty sure all baby birds get parental care. There's just some birds that shove their babies off onto other birds. Like, I'm pretty sure with I think it's mockingbird. Honestly, Hunger Games has messed me up for that bird, and I always think it's not a real bird. Anyways, but the mockingbirds, I'm pretty sure what they do is they lay an egg in a different bird's nest, and like when the mom's away, and then when that egg hatches, I think it will sometimes or always, I don't know, push the other eggs out of the nest, so it's the only baby. And I think often they're a lot bigger than the species that the mother has laid the egg in, so they're more likely to outcompete the other babies. Brood parasites. God, I hate the word parasite. The word also brood parasite sounds way worse than it is. It just means they give their egg to someone else. Okay. So it looks like Ty is streaming, so maybe we'll go raid him later. Because I presume I will finish before he does. Anyways. So let's look at mockingbirds a little bit, because since we've answered the question of they all get parental care, so there's less variation. We've been talking about snakes with legs for years. Help. It's coming. They're gonna make a comeback, those snakes with legs. I wonder if snakes would be faster or slower with legs. Northern mockingbird overview. Honestly, my brain messed up those letters a little bit and I thought it said review. Also, I've decided at some point, I don't know when, but at some point, because this is one of the ideas I had in the car and I was like, I'm not doing this tonight, is I just want to, like, have a few drinks and just rate animals. Like, out of 10. At some point. I don't know when. Northern mockingbirds. Oh, they're kind of pretty. Ugh. Excuse me. Yes, they mock. No, I don't want. No. No. Okay, no. No, this isn't what I want. I just want to learn about the babies. Tell me about the babies. Wikipedia will tell me, probably. Or it won't. Dang it. Okay, wait. Better idea. Mocking bird. Brood parasite. I can hear people outside my door and I don't like it. Brood parasites are organisms that rely on others to raise their young. It appears among birds, insects, and fish. Manipulates a host. Oh, I will say, Hunger Gamers, I will say we didn't, when we were talking about insects, I didn't get to talking about wasps and stuff, which, I mean, we have talked about before, but it's like, we talked about how bees, you know, take care of their babies. And we talked about how ants do it, but wasps especially scare the crap out of me because they often paralyze other bugs and, like, lay their eggs inside them or, like, near them, so when the eggs hatch, they just eat the still alive animal. Anyways, brood parasites. Speaking of parasites, the brood parasite manipulates a host to raise it if it's young. For example, by having eggs that resemble the host's. So this is an eastern phoebe nest with one brown-headed cowbird egg. God. They're an obligate brood parasite, which means all they do is do that. This is a shiny cowbird being fed by a sparrow. Interesting. God, that must have been so weird when they figured that out. They're like, what is this bird doing? Oh? I kind of want to be watching this. I don't know what it is. Oh god, that's loud, sorry. What is it doing? just following him. Is that a baby, or is that like the mom that's gonna get in there with the egg? I'm so confused. How is it parasiting that I don't understand. It's okay. Uh no, but what I want to talk about interspecific, yeah, is the cowbirds, cuckoos, honey guides, indigo birds, black-headed ducks. Oh my god. Some of them are obligate, so they have to. The common cuckoo presents an interesting case in which the species as a whole parasitizes a wide variety of hosts, but individual females specialize in a single species. That's cool. Adaptations for parasitism, so they have mimetic eggs that are nearly universal. They have evolved in egg coloration mimicking a number of their hosts. I think that's really interesting because I wonder, like, how well birds know their own eggs, I guess. Like, how likely, if you have those brown spotted eggs, if you were to put a blue egg in there, would it just completely ignore it? Or would it, like, what would happen? I don't know. The eggs of brood parasites are often thicker. We don't know why. One hypothesis is that thicker eggshells serve to prevent hosts from breaking the eggshell and killing the embryo inside. This is supported by a study in which marsh warblers damage their eggs more often when attempting to break cuckoo eggs, but incurred less damage when trying to puncture great warbler eggs. Another hypothesis is the eggshells are adapted to damage the eggs of the hosts when the former is being laid and prevent the parasite's eggs from being damaged. That's interesting. Most avian brood parasites have very short egg incubation periods and rapid nestling growth. It's likely to... Yeah, okay. Mafia hypothesis. Oh my god. The Mafia hypothesis evolved through studies in an attempt to answer the question as to why the majority of hosts of brood parasites care for the nestlings of their parasites. Yeah, that's a good question. Because that's the other thing. I actually, following the, can they identify different eggs? Can they not identify different babies? The great... This hypothesis... Cow moo, please. It's like a... That's the sound cows make, right? Just they don't like actually like moo. They're like... The Mafia hypothesis revolved around host manipulations induced by behaviors of the brood parasite. Upon detection and rejection of the brood parasite's egg, the host's nest is destroyed and nestlings injured or killed. So I guess what happens... Yeah. So I guess what maybe happens is that the like mom of the parasite egg will repeatedly visit the nest, and if it finds that the egg has been destroyed, it will destroy that nest, so the aggressive response, like that behavior, is less likely to be passed on or repeated. God, that's messed up. Like, you're gonna take care of my baby, I'm gonna destroy your babies. They observed the effects of the removal of cuckoo eggs on the reproductive success of the magpie and measured the magpie's reaction. The egg was considered accepted if it remained in the nest, ejected if gone between visits, or abandoned if eggs were present but cold. If any nest contents were gone between consecutive visits, the nests were considered to have been depredated. The magpie's reproductive success was measured after the removal of parasitic eggs. The nests are predated at much higher rates. Huh. The nest destruction was caused by the cuckoo. So that's a real thing that happens. So that both benefits the cuckoo. Cuckoo? Sometimes I say a word too many times and then I'm like, am I saying that right? So that is what happens is the cuckoo will literally just like destroy the nest. That's messed up. If the egg is not accepted. And I guess again that maybe prevents the behavior from being repeated or passed on, but like it's saying it also can lay a new egg and then maybe that one will be accepted. A similar experiment was done. They found 56% of egg ejected nests were predicted upon in comparison to 6% of non-ejected. So I guess that's the same sort of thing. Nest site hypothesis. I mean, it's no mafia hypothesis. Female cuckoos select a group of host species with similar nest sites and egg characteristics. Okay, I feel like we've looked a lot into this. God, this is wicked. It could just go on forever. Anyways, oh yeah, this is a thing I was talking about before though. There's a kind of catfish, which is a brood parasite of some of the mouth brooding fish, so the fish that actually have their live, like very small babies in their mouth. The catfish eggs are incubated in the host's mouth and hatch before the host's own eggs, so that the catfish can eat the host's fry. God. Catfish. Spicy. Okay. So that's kind of birds. There's not a whole lot else to talk about with birds because they all, again, do parental care. So we will talk about... I will do a stretch. Oh, God. And we'll talk about mammals a little bit. And then that will be that. And I will probably just go right to sleep immediately. God, what day is it? It is Thursday. No, it's Wednesday. Have my day straight. So, I feel like before I get into mammals, I wanted to talk a little bit again about this thing I talked about at the start. I mean, I think this does happen to some degree across all the groups. Like, I'm sure this happens in birds and stuff too. But I think, again, generally the strategy tends to be you make lots of babies that are less likely to survive, or you make fewer, more likely to survive babies. And I think this can relate to lots of different things. Like, I think in general, smaller animals, again, like mice, like I said before in my original example, they tend to make lots of babies. And they reproduce very quickly, and like their lifespans aren't very long anyways. So they like continue the population by just like sheer force of numbers. Whereas, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have things like elephants and whales that only have like one baby, and it takes a very long time for the baby to like develop, and then once they give birth to it, it like stays with them for like years. So very different amounts of investment for sure. Okay, sip of water. Good. All right. Do all mammals take care of their young? Even though some baby mammals are born different, they all drink milk because the babies... Yeah, I guess it makes sense. So one of the things, the characteristics that unites all mammals is I think there's... all mammals have hair, all mammals produce milk. I'm sure there's other ones, but I can't remember what they are right now. I believe all mammals do live birth. Is that true? I don't know. What are platypuses? Sorry. Platypuses are mammals, right? Where do they live? Are they mammals? Oh, I don't know. Yes, they're mammals. They're just weird. Very weird mammals. They make eggs. That is wild, honestly. They were divided over where the female layer. God, can you imagine being like someone who identifies like animals and plants and stuff and coming upon like this thing, and you're like, what in God's name? It looks like a beaver duck, and it lays eggs. Which does it still make milk? It must, right? I don't know. Tell me about the eggs. No, reproduction. Yeah, yeah. They lay eggs. A single breeding season. They have a pair of ovaries, but only the left one is functional. That's interesting. The newly, yeah, okay. So that is very strange. So they do lay eggs, but they still like nurse their young and stuff like that. The milk is released through pores in the skin, and it pools in grooves on her abdomen. What the actual, like, what is this thing? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody come at me with the platypus. I don't know what it is. It's the weirdest animal. Where did you come from? Honestly. Okay. Sorry, I gotta do a stretch again. I'm running out of energy. I am running on nothing. I need more chocolate. But I'll have some after the stream. Because we are almost at the end. We have almost talked about all of the things I wanted to talk about. Because we did kind of, like, what mammal has the most babies? Let's do that. Possums have a lot of babies. Sure, what mammal has the largest litter? That's not a mammal, but good try. Oh, this is just like a... That's not even helpful. Okay. I'm guessing something small and rodent-like. What animal has more babies? Wait, no. You're just gonna say the, like, ocean sunfish, which is not what I want. No, I don't want I literally... I like how I put mammal and it's still highlighting animal when I said mammal. God, this is a thing that happens too. Let me aside for a second. And like, there was some time lately, I think it was when we were talking about venom and stuff, when I, like, sometime after that, I was trying to look up poisonous snakes. Like, not venomous snakes, not snakes that bite you and inject venom. Poisonous snakes where their skin, like, contains toxins. And Google thought I meant venomous because of that. And it was very annoying because I wanted actual information on poisonous snakes, but it wouldn't give it to me because of the massive confusion over poisonous versus venomous. It's very annoying. Anyways, maybe Discover Wildlife knows the answer. So this is in the lifetime. This is, no, I just want like the bottom. European rabbit. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, you're so cute. So cute. So this again is what I was talking about, and probably like, yeah, rodents are on the end of like, they're closer to the bottom of the food chain. So they're much less likely to survive. So they have to make lots of babies. Just out of sheer being able to continue on. And that's, I guess, a case where, again, even though I'm pretty, like, the mom probably does, you know, spend time nursing and stuff, it's probably, the parental care is probably not nearly what it is for something bigger that has fewer babies, and they just make up for it by just making more babies. Let's go up this little bit. Look at a possum! Sorry, got excited. Meerkats. Black bears? That's interesting. Yeah, so it's saying here, like, something bigger, like a black bear that's closer to the top, if not at the top of the food chain, will stay with the mother for like a year and a half, which is quite a bit of time. That's quite a bit of time for an animal to basically have that kind of energy baggage, I guess. Tiger babies are at the greatest risk from male tigers who may try to kill them to mate with the female. Messed up. Yeah, one other, I guess, consideration is stuff like rodents and whatnot reach sexual maturity to the point where they can have babies a lot earlier than, you know, bigger animals and stuff like that, and animals that live a long time. So they can also, because of that, probably have a lot more babies in their lifetime. Oh god. Did I look up how long? Let's look at how long do whales are young. How about that? Belugas remain near their mother for 3 years, sometimes even longer. I mean, I feel like the other thing about that and about like stuff like elephants is, along with that, is those animals kind of tend to be in groups with other animals already. And even though like there is a whole, you know, thing of having to take care of another animal, they're not necessarily like completely on their own. I mean, some animals will be like, a lot of big cats are solitary, and so they would be on their own. And I was watching a documentary lately, and it was kind of like the tiger thing I was talking about, where there was, I think it was was it a lion? No, it could have been a lion. It was a mountain lion. It was a mountain lion. And it was talking about how, I was showing footage of like the female going hunting, but then she stopped hunting when there was a male nearby and went back to her babies because the babies are at risk from the male. I think for mating purposes, and also food is food. So yeah, I'm sure there's more I could say, but I'm tired and my brain is going to moosh, and I would really like to like lay down at this point. So I think we will end the stream there. It looks like Ty is streaming, and we like Ty, so we're gonna go raid Ty. I'll switch it back to this for a second so you can see my lovely face. It's me, and I like desperately need a cup of tea because my throat hurts. So I'm just gonna go pour honey down my throat or something. But thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for the follows and all that sort of stuff. I'm gonna try my best to do Wildlife Wednesdays from here on out, but I am still in school and I do have a job, so bear with me if I can't do it. I'll try to find at least something animal related, like a game that's animal related or something. For Wildlife Wednesday, I'll try my best. And I will be back on Saturday doing I don't know what, but I'll be back. I'll be there. Let's go raid time. God, what are the numbers at the end of his name? I don't even remember. Hold on. 495. 495. Okay, here we go. Bye-bye. I'm gonna find my ending screen, don't I? So it's here somewhere. I have too many things. Okay, we're gonna go raid. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bye.